Hi everyone, this is Miss Riley and I'm a third grade teacher here at Lincoln. And I'm going to start us off with chapters 1 through 5 of Saving Winslow by Sharon Creech. Chapter 1. What is it? In the laundry basket on the kitchen floor was a lump. Another dead thing? Louis asked. Not yet, his father said. It was the midst of winter, when night, like an unwelcome guest, came too early and stayed too long, and when each day seemed smaller than the one before. Louis's mother stared down at the basket that her husband had brought into the house. Another one of Uncle Pete's, I presume. Uncle Pete had a small farm on the outskirts of town. Anything to do with Uncle Pete usually involved Louis's father wasting time or money or doing something dangerous like chopping down trees or racing tractors through mud fields or disposing of dead animals. Louis's father had already brought home and buried 2 piglets that had not survived their birth. Louis knelt beside the basket. A small gray head with black eyes and feathery eyelashes and sticking up ears emerged. Attached to the head was a trembling thin body and 4 long spindly legs, all of it covered in splotchy gray fur scattered with brown freckles. It was not a dog or a cat. It was a pitiful-looking thing, and it was gazing at Louis. He felt a sudden rush, as if the roof had peeled off the house and the sun had dived into every corner of the kitchen. A goat? He asked, kneeling beside the basket. No, a donkey, his father said. A mini donkey born last night. A mini donkey? Louis's hand cupped the donkey's head, patting it gently. The donkey seemed too weak to move. Something wrong with it? The mother is sick, can't take care of it. Poor Mama, Louis said. Poor baby. What will happen to it? Probably go downhill fast. Might last a day or 2. No. So, his mother said, why do you have the donkey? Why did you bring it home if it might just die in a day or 2? I don't know, his father said. I felt sorry for it. I thought maybe we could at least watch it until until it dies. He whispered the last word. The donkey made a small noise that sounded like, please. Louis lifted the donkey from the basket and held it close. It smelled of wet hay. It put its face against Louis's cheek and made that noise again. Please. Okay, Louis said. I accept the mission. What mission? To save this pitiful, motherless donkey. Chapter 2. Something different approaching. Louis's house was old and cold and drafty and leaky, rising up out of its stone cellar with good intentions, but weakening as it reached the bowed roof, topping the musty attic. The house was like many others on the narrow roads this side of town. Beyond the town stretched farmland and empty fields. In summers past, the house had felt light and airy, with cooling breezes puffing the curtains in and out of the windows, and always his older brother Gus there, so full of energy and purpose. Come on, Louis, let's paint the porch. And come on, Louis, let's clean out that vegetable patch. And come on, Louis, let's go to the creek. Always was something new to do. But now Gus was in the army, gone, already a year. And now it was winter, and each day short and dark and cold, until this snowy Saturday morning in January, with the wind plastering the windows with wet flakes, when Louis had awakened feeling floaty, suspended in the air, with something different approaching. Chapter 3. Don't let it hear you. Louis had not had the best luck nurturing small creatures, those worms he brought into the house when he was 3 years old. Those cute wriggly things dried up and died 2 days later. The lightning bug, so carefully caught and tipped into the glass jar with holes punched in the lid, dead on the bottom of the jar 3 days later. The lively goldfish, won at the carnival, belly up at the end of the week. Blue parakeet, also won at the carnival, carefully fed and watered and talked to, 3 months, then gasped its last breath at the bottom of its cage. The kitten, found at the side of the road, ran away the second day. The bird, limping across the porch and gently brought indoors, flew out an open window 2 days later. Hamster, snake, turtle, lizard. Louis tried, but all of them, each and every one, either shriveled and died or escaped. More recently, he had been longing for a dog. His parents thought it would be a better idea if he borrowed a dog from time to time, one that didn't live with them, one that didn't need walking in the rain and snow, and one that didn't pee on the carpet or chew on the furniture. So Louis was more than a little surprised when his father came home that Saturday morning with a pitiful donkey wrapped in a blue blanket. "I don't want it to die. I don't want to watch it die," his mother said. "No," Louis said. "No dying. I told you. I accept the mission." The pitiful creature tentatively touched its nose to Louis's. "Ah." "Don't get attached," his mother warned. "You're going to be heartbroken when it—" "Shh," Louis said. "Don't let it hear you." He asked his father if it was a boy or a girl. "Boy," he said. Poor thing. His parents stepped out onto the front porch to discuss the situation. Louis could see his mother waving her arms here and there, and his father nodding helplessly, shrugging his shoulders as if he realized he had not thought this through. And then Louis saw him waving his arms and smiling and making a cute donkey face. The pitiful donkey was trembling in Louis's arms, his wee head nuzzling Louis's neck, his long, spindly legs folded up awkwardly. By the time his parents came inside, Louis had a plan. "He'll stay in the cellar. I can sleep there with him on a cot. Maybe we could have the heater on at night. We need to go to the feed store and get some hay for him to sleep on in a bottle and some milk formula." His mother's mouth opened and shut. No sounds came out. "Mom, will you watch him while Dad and I get supplies?" Louis handed the donkey to her, pushing him gently into her reluctant arms. Louis's mother bent her head to the donkey, studying his sweet face. "Go on," she said, "but I'm warning you both. He may not last the night, and if he does, he may not last another day or two. You're going to be so sad." "No," Louis said. "I will save Winslow." "Winslow," Mom said. "That's his name, Winslow. It just came to me, out of the air." Chapter 4. Think positive. Next door lived Louis's friend Mac, whose father owned the feed store. Louis had been in the feed store many times, helping Mac stock shelves, so he was familiar with the layout. He could direct customers to the cow halters, the livestock feed bins, the portable cages, and tick repellent, and vitamin supplements for animals of all types, and 2 books on every farm animal from pigs to donkeys. Mac was there when Louis and his father arrived. They told him about the donkey and chose a suitable powdered milk formula. "A small bag," Louis's father said, "because it probably won't live very—" "Yes, it will," Louis said. "Don't say that." Mac recommended a book all about donkeys, but Louis's father said they should get it from the library because, what will we need it for if the donkey, if it— "Don't say it. Think positive." That was pretty much how it was, with the few items his father accepted. The smallest bottle, the smallest bag of formula, the tiniest vial of vitamins, the 2-page free pamphlet titled The Newborn Donkey, instead of the 200-page book all about donkeys. Because he was convinced this would all be wasted on the pitiful donkey. His father did not want to buy a bale of hay for bedding, but Mac's dad offered to throw in a partial bale for free, because it had fallen off someone's truck. "We're going to feel pretty stupid," his father said, "if we get home and find a dead donkey." "Quit saying that. I just don't want you to get your hopes up." Chapter 5, Mac and his sisters. Mac was 13, 3 years older than Louis. People sometimes thought they were related because they were often together and both had dark, unruly hair and dark eyes and were tall and thin. Louis's own brother, Gus, shared Louis's dark features, but had their father's strong, stocky build. He had played football in high school and had been eager to join the army. Louis missed him. He sometimes missed Mac, too, because lately Mac had been hanging out with his friends from school when he wasn't helping at the feed store. If Louis suggested sledding down the hill at the end of the road, Mac sometimes said, I'm a teenager now. Don't feel like sledding. But other times, if there was no one else around, he might join Louis and laugh his head off all the way down the hill. It was while they were sledding that they had met the sisters, Claudine and Nora, who had recently moved to town and were the only other ones at the hill that day. It was late Sunday afternoon and the snow was packed and icy in spots. Later, Louis couldn't remember how it was that he and Mac learned their names and where they lived, and that Claudine was Mac's age and Nora was a year younger than Louis. It was all a blur the way Mac and Claudine started talking and laughing while Nora and Louis kept on sledding down the hill, walking back up and sledding down again. On the way home, just the two of them, Louis and Mac put his hand over his heart and said, "I am in love." He pretended to stagger and fall back in the snow.